Imagine waking up tomorrow, and there are two suns in the sky. Not a science fiction movie. Not a glitch in reality. Two real stars rising over Earth. The sky blazing twice as bright. Shadows splitting in opposite directions. The night, almost gone. Here's the twist. This idea isn't as crazy as it sounds. In fact, most stars in our galaxy don't live alone. Around half of Sun-like stars in the Milky Way are part of binary or multiple star systems. That means if you look up at the night sky, many of those single stars are actually two stars orbiting each other. So in a way, our solar system is the unusual one. Now let's interrupt your expectations. You might think two suns would simply mean twice the light and twice the heat. Wrong. It would be far more chaotic than that. Let's start with the physics. Earth orbits the sun at an average distance of about 150 million kilometers, receiving roughly 1,361 watts of solar energy per square meter at the top of the atmosphere. That balance between incoming solar radiation and outgoing heat is what keeps our global average temperature around 15 degrees Celsius. If we suddenly had a second sun identical to ours at a similar distance, Earth's energy input would nearly double. And climate science is very clear about this. Even small increases in solar radiation cause dramatic warming. A doubling wouldn't just make summers hotter. It would likely trigger a runaway greenhouse effect, similar to what happened on Venus. Venus receives about twice the solar energy Earth does. Its surface temperature? Around 465 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to melt lead. So yes, two suns could literally turn Earth into a furnace. But hold on. There's controversy here. Because not all two-sun scenarios are deadly. Binary star systems come in different arrangements. In some systems, planets orbit one star while the second star stays far away. In others, planets orbit both stars together in a circumbinary orbit, like the real exoplanet Kepler-16b, discovered by NASA in 2011. If our second sun were much smaller, say a red dwarf, and located far enough away, things would be different. Red dwarfs are the most common type of star in the universe. They're smaller, cooler, and dimmer than our sun. Some emit less than 10% of the sun's energy. If one orbited far beyond Pluto, its effect on Earth's temperature might be minor. But here's the catch. Even a distant second star would destabilize the delicate gravitational balance of our solar system. Earth's orbit is stable because of a precise gravitational dance between the sun and the planets. Introduce another massive star, and orbital paths could shift. Over long timescales, Earth's orbit might become more elliptical. That means extreme seasons, scorching summers, and brutal winters. And that's not speculation. Computer simulations of binary systems show that planetary orbits can become chaotic depending on the star's mass and distance. Now imagine the sky. Two sunrises. Two sunsets. Sometimes both suns visible together. Sometimes one chasing the other across the horizon. Shadows would split into double outlines. Photography would never look the same again. But here's something even more shocking. Nights might almost disappear. If the two suns were positioned on opposite sides of Earth's sky at certain times of the year, darkness could be drastically reduced. That would devastate ecosystems. Life on Earth runs on circadian rhythms, biological clocks synced to the 24-hour light-dark cycle. Humans, animals, plants, almost every organism depends on nighttime for hormonal balance, sleep cycles, and metabolic regulation. Artificial light already disrupts wildlife and human sleep. Now imagine a second natural sun extending daylight. Migratory birds navigate by stars. No stars visible. Migration patterns collapse. Nocturnal animals rely on darkness to hunt and avoid predators. Remove the dark, and entire food chains shift. Plants depend on photoperiodism, the length of day versus night, to determine when to flower. Change that balance, and global agriculture would be thrown into chaos. But here's a pattern interrupt you didn't expect. Two suns might actually increase habitability in some cases. In colder regions of space, binary stars can expand the habitable zone, the region where liquid water can exist. Some studies suggest circumbinary planets can maintain stable climates under the right orbital conditions. In fact, NASA has identified multiple exoplanets in binary systems that lie within their stars' habitable zones. So the presence of two suns doesn't automatically mean destruction. It means complexity. However, there's one more major factor most people ignore: solar activity. Our sun produces solar flares and coronal mass ejections, bursts of radiation and charged particles. A powerful solar storm today can disrupt satellites, GPS, and power grids. The 1859 Carrington event caused telegraph systems to spark and fail worldwide. If a similar event happened today, experts estimate trillions of dollars in potential damage. Now imagine two stars capable of solar storms. The probability of overlapping stellar activity increases. Earth's magnetosphere, our protective magnetic shield, would face greater stress. Satellite infrastructure, communications, aviation, even modern banking systems could be far more vulnerable. And we are more dependent on space-based technology than ever before. Here's another twist. Tides. The sun contributes to Earth's tides along with the moon. While the moon has the dominant effect, solar gravity still plays a role. Add another star's gravitational pull, and ocean dynamics could shift subtly or dramatically, depending on distance. Stronger tidal forces could mean increased coastal flooding in certain configurations. Now let's talk evolution. If Earth had formed in a binary system from the beginning, life might have adapted differently. Plants could evolve protective pigments against higher radiation. Animals might develop different sleep cycles. Human civilization itself, architecture, religion, mythology, would likely revolve around two celestial gods instead of one. But here's the hard truth. If a second sun suddenly appeared today at a similar brightness and distance as ours, complex life on Earth would probably not survive long term. Climate destabilization alone would be catastrophic. And yet, the universe thrives on duality. Binary systems are not rare accidents. They are common outcomes of star formation. When massive clouds of gas collapse under gravity, they often fragment, forming two or more stars instead of one, which means our single-sun system might actually be the cosmic exception. So maybe the better question isn't, what if Earth had two suns? It's, why don't we? Was our solitary sun one of the quiet conditions that allowed life to evolve steadily for 3.8 billion years without extreme orbital chaos? Sometimes what seems ordinary is actually extraordinarily rare. Two suns would mean brighter skies, possibly shorter nights, unpredictable seasons, intensified solar radiation, gravitational instability, and a climate that could either expand or completely destroy habitability depending on distance and mass. It wouldn't just change the weather. It would rewrite biology, technology, civilization itself. And here's the controversial part to end on. If future humans ever colonize planets in binary star systems, and statistically, many of them will orbit two suns, we may have to redesign our understanding of time, sleep, farming, and even architecture to survive there. So maybe two suns aren't a fantasy. Maybe they're a preview of humanity's future homes. If this expanded your perspective, follow for more mind-bending but science-backed explorations of our universe. Now tell me, would you want to live on a planet with two suns, or is one already intense enough?